Look, I remember the first time I learned about SR and I went 30 days clean. And then I went to the park because I wanted to see the fruits of my labor in the form of the anecdotes that profess to me and to you that female attraction is something that is not just in your head, but it is happening in real time. And although on that particular occasion I was disheartened with the results because I didn't get what I was seeing, it's interesting to me as I pushed past the 30 days and I started to obsess less and less about seeing the fruits of my labor and rather just being present in the moment with what I was doing at the time and enjoying the joy that was being almost IV dripped into my body as a consequence of just reducing my karmic and sexual debt in that regard. But I wanted to read to you this anecdote and I suppose give more credence to this outcome and give you a little bit more rationalization on it. Anyway, I'll stop speaking here. We've all talked about FA, that this comes with the journey. It's easy to write off as just confidence, clearer skin, or maybe a better vibe. But what if there's something deeper and more fundamental? So he's referring to this very interesting book that I've equally read called Stalking the Wild Pendulum on the Mechanics of Consciousness by Isaac Bentov, an inventor and a scientist with a pretty wild model of the universe that honestly gives a very powerful framework for what we are all experiencing on this path. So I'm going to go through these and then I'm going to make reference to some of my other teachings and not just my teachings, other people's teachings, and also references from the Kybalion that kind of interlink and interplay with these concepts. So the first is everything vibrates. Nothing is static. From galaxies down to atoms, everything is oscillating. The second, and not too dissimilar, is your body is a resonator. Our bodies are complex receivers and transmitters of our physical, mental, and emotional state, which dictates the frequency we broadcast. It's our personal signal or transmitter to the rest of the universe. The third is that the universe is a hologram. This is a crucial part. Bentov argued that the universe is holographic. Every single piece contains the information of the whole, the micro to the macro, as it were, meaning that everything is deeply interconnected. There's no real separation between you and the outside world. The internal is a reflection of the external equally. As above, so below. And much of this has it runs parallel to some of the teachings in the Kybalion. Consciousness is everywhere. The brain doesn't create consciousness. It's more like a radio receiver turning or tuning into universal consciousness that's already there, permeating everything. So how does one argue the relationship between SR and female attraction in this vein? Well, when you retain long enough, you're not just spilling your seed, you are fundamentally altering your internal state. That conserved life force energy floods your system and the results are tangible. More vitality, sharper focus, a solid sense of self. In Bentov's model, this internal shift completely changes the signal you are broadcasting. You go from putting out this very weak, chaotic, low energy vibe to emitting a very powerful, coherent, high energy frequency. You are quite literally glowing with life force from the inside out. Now, I want to come back to maybe more practically kind of how we crystallize this into something a little bit more palatable for your ear. So the first is the initial switch, the initial shift that you'll experience is this internal dialogue one. And it starts to move you into this new paradigm of self-concept. So when you have a recurring thoughts for a long period of time, they become a habit. So this is one that I experienced a lot in the early stages of this journey. I relapsed, I'm weak, I'm not living up to my potential. These habitual thoughts eventually crystallize into a self-concept. So this is an individual's internalized perception of who they are, a cognitive framework built from consistent patterns of thoughts, emotions, and experience. You can think of this as your default, automatic program for your behavior. When SR becomes a habit, you begin to rewrite this particular code of your self-concept. And of course, if you have read the Kybalion, which is based on ancient Egyptic Hermetic philosophy, it stems from this idea. All is mind. Everything that you see in 3D is but a reflection of that internal programming. So you can imagine how debilitating this is. You know, I had this program running on repeat for months and months and months, and it started to become who I was and how I carried myself. And again, a default automatic program from which you articulate your whole character and behavior. And although, you know, many people would deceive themselves into thinking that, oh, I'm definitely going to be conscious of this. It's a program. It runs in the subconscious. Many people, even I wasn't astute enough to recognize that I had this program running in the background behind everything I say and all my body language and my behavior. And women who are intuitively sensitive to things like nonverbal communication, tone, body language, they pick up on this, and I'll reference it. This receiver, transmitter that you are emulating. So again, when you start to make SR a habit and you have less and less of these thoughts, you begin to rewrite them. I'm strong. Nothing owns me. I'm not attached. I'm free from lust. And by the way, you can find all of the systems to accomplish this in Sexual Energy Mastery, which will be in the link in the description box below. Let's move over to, in my opinion, and I know this will annoy some of you, in my opinion, the most tangible impact this will have on female attraction, which is fundamentally the way you feel about yourself changes dramatically, which in turn changes how you're received. So the effect of being less neurotic has a tangible impact on your body as a resonator. Emotions like shame in particular have the lowest broadcast frequency. So we're still keeping with Bentov's model on this idea of frequency. And I know this is something that you've seen me reference a lot. It's also in Sexual Energy Mastery. But this is something that you need to know off by heart. If you can understand, the way I always explain this to my clients specifically is this is the language of the body. Emotions are the language of the body, the energy in motion that is happening internal. But most people are illiterate in reading and understanding and comprehending the language of the body. If you're feeling these emotions down here towards the southern pole, the shame and the guilt, that is a conversation your body is trying to invite you into. It's saying to you, dude, we're not supposed to be here. Something's fundamentally wrong. And we need to start moving northwards towards the changing point, which is courage around 200 on the energetic log. So emotions, again, like shame in particular, have the lowest broadcast frequency. There's even lower ones than shame. Terror and death. I shouldn't say death because I'm ambivalent with the idea of death as an emotional state. Maybe I'll unpack that in a different video. But terror being almost, well, it is lower than shame. Remember, this is an emotion, an energy in motion that is interpreted through feeling, which in this case is influenced by your renewed self-concept. If you start running on that different program, we mentioned it before, I'm detached, I'm free from lust, all of these things, those thought patterns will influence the language the body is communicating to you in. And you're going to start feeling emotions that are more consistent with courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, even love. This is where, you know, as cliche as it sounds, real self-love comes into play. I mean, there's this very new age idea of self-love being conflated. I think it's conflated with self-pleasure. It's always the girls on their Instagram, you know, treating themselves to matcha coffees and doing their nails and getting a head rub or whatever how they're doing these days. But that's the real conflation. That's self-pleasure. It's not self-love. Self-love comes from this perspective where that internal monologue, that self-concept, is also married with emotions that are elevated beyond courage, but usually it's an actual frequency. Like self-love is an energetic frequency. And it's so powerful that it permeates and affects other people's nervous systems and their heart. So I'll actually kind of Well, I'll continue with the dialogue that was going on here. Then I'll end on my theory on how attraction fundamentally starts to happen in this way. This is where the holographic idea comes into play, because everything is interconnected. Your new powerful signal, predicated on your new self-concept and new emotional default, you can say, submits a powerful signal that isn't just trapped inside you, it radiates outwards and is instantly felt by the field around you. We kind of talked about this already. Women don't have a conscious thought about this guy is retaining or celibate. They just feel the presence differently. They're drawn to powerful life force, which is radiating because on a primal level, it signifies a man who is full of energy and potential. We talked previously about this idea of just becoming healthy in terms of the endocrine system, virile, fertile, the capacity to create life and give it to the female counterpart as an incubator for life. What's very interesting is there's been some anecdotes from individuals that they experience attraction that is not predicated on proximity. So, I mean, I've had this on occasion before, maybe not as abundantly as some people have, but old flames texting you out of nowhere, exes reaching out, things like that. And the rationality is, in Bentov's holographic model, this actually makes sense because distance becomes less relevant when you're dealing with an interconnected field of consciousness. Your elevated energetic state isn't bound by space-time. It ripples through the hologram. When you interact online, that signal still comes through. Essentially, you've gone from being this weak radio signal to a powerful broadcast tower with a clear magnetic signal. And my theory is that it's the combination of both the head and the heart. So SR not only clears debilitating thoughts from the mind, but it refines your personal marketing. What you think about yourself, and in turn what others think about you. This is your mental signal, the psyche, what people come to understand about you. Again, understanding from a mental domain. He's interesting, he's educated, he's well-spoken. This is understood intellectually. We already know that the heart has an electromagnetic field which is predicated upon your emotional frequency, which is what emotions your body what your body feels most frequently. So we come back to here for a reference. You can imagine again, somebody in the grips of lust is constantly oscillating around here as a kind of, they have the medium, the mode, the mean in maths. The median is going to be around apathy, but on SR, around neutrality, maybe willingness, acceptance, even love. After the 180-point jump during SR, people feel differently about you, stronger. He's funny, warm, charismatic. This is felt in the heart, in the body. It's not understood, it's felt. I'm trying to use language very deliberately so you understand the concept here. It's the yin, the yang. The masculine is very heady. It's very scientific, rational, logical. The heart is more feminine. It's empathy. It's openness. It's esoteric. It's felt. It's intuition. All this kind of stuff. So you have that yin and that yang, and the combination of those two is what creates, you make people's nervous system feel good, like a good song. People continually want to kind of hear from you. It's really difficult to explain in terms of words, but I hope I'm doing justice to the concept here. This is a theory, not a fact, but I want to get your insight on it, gentlemen. Are these theories, are these facts? I don't know. You tell me. Speak soon.